What's up, y'all? This is John Joseph with Riff Rabbit PMPVT back again with another important concept here with personal training today. And one second. Firework. So even though, hey, stop, sit. Even though she's freaking out, I still try to let her down calm. Just because not like how you break your dog when you let them have their break time. Do you want them to be super explosive or calm? I aim for calm. High energy dog. Sometimes it doesn't always work out. She wants to play. The topic I wanted to talk about today, though, would be strength training. Apparently, it's becoming a controversial thing to do strength training because people think, honestly, in the future, maybe I'll do some reaction videos just going through some of the fitness influencer type of content that is being uploaded and give my own professional opinion within my own scope of practice on the healthcare continuum. But from what people have been saying, it's something like you lose your abs or something. If you study the body fat percentages on average across sports and athletics, you'll find that it ranges a lot across both women and men. And for instance, if you compare a heavyweight power lifter to maybe a dancer or something. So anyways, you get the idea. Body fat percentages vary usually depending on many factors involved in somebody's sport or their certain athletic preference, whatever or if they're enthusiastic about something. But here's a good concept. It's overclocking versus resistance training. So strength training is actually a spectrum. On one end, you are overloading, and on the other, you are doing essentially an underload. And it might sound a little confusing at first if you're thinking about like computers, but as the best example I can give, imagine there's a fantastic training device for both the overload and underload, having both resistance training and overclocking at the same time. This involves putting a band around yourself, around the waist. You start about 40 yards back. The band launches you forward. And then as you pass the point of the anchor, where the band is, it's a resistance band. It becomes, well, a resistance band as it's usually called. Before that, it's an overclock. As you pass, it turns into resistance. So essentially, another good example of overclocking would be sprinting downhill. It forces your body to extend itself further than it would normally. And this can have benefits for usually elite athletes. As you can imagine, sprinting downhill can be dangerous if you're not used to it. And it's usually more seldomly used. I think the last time I did downhill sprints, my wrestling coach used to make people do downhill sprints. And yeah, it was definitely a little bit of overtraining going on, but you know, he didn't have any qualifications or anything other than he'd been a wrestling guy in the past. But yeah, just other than classic training, that's sort of the idea that it's a spectrum. For in resistance training, you have overclocking, and then you have resistance training, or sorry, in strength training. Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Strength training is a spectrum. There's resistance training as well as overclocking. Both are just different ways to load your body. Strength training has nothing to do whether or not you have abs. In particular, in reference to the LPHC or lumbopelvic hip complex, or the core, any muscular system that connects to the hips, which would be your local and globular muscular systems typically, are not necessarily dictated by your strength training. So, and that can be backed up if you kind of look at body fat percentages across all ranges of fitness enthusiasts and athletes. So yeah, again, that's the facts on strength training. Be safe out there. If you decide to overclock, be safe with it. Ask a professional like me how to do it before you do. Get a personal trainer, guys. Be safe. Take care. Bye. Fiverr says bye.